The power of massive action. There is a moment in every life when a voice whispers inside you, you are meant for more. It is not a voice of comfort. It is not a voice that lets you stay where you are. It is a command, a call to rise. And most people ignore it. They bury it under excuses, under fear, under the weight of habits that keep them chained to mediocrity. But those who answer that call, those who step forward when their hearts pound and their hands shake, they are the ones who shape history. Look around you. Every skyscraper, every invention, every company that redefined the world began with a single idea, but ideas alone are worthless. The world is drowning in ideas. The graveyards are full of men and women who had brilliant dreams, but never took the action to make them real. The truth is simple. Life doesn't reward intention. It rewards execution. It rewards the bold. It rewards those who are willing to move before they feel ready, to leap before the net appears, to act with such intensity and persistence that the world has no choice but to make room for them. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times before the light bulb stayed lit. Do you think he had some divine guarantee of success? No, he had massive action. He had the willingness to keep striking the iron until it finally sparked. Henry Ford was laughed at when he insisted on building a V8 engine. His engineers told him it was impossible, but he commanded them to keep trying, month after month, year after year, and they did. That is massive action. That is a refusal to let the world dictate your limits. And what about you? How many dreams have you allowed to wither because you thought you weren't ready, because you were waiting for the perfect time? Understand this. There is no perfect time. There is no moment when all the stars align, when the fear goes away, when the obstacles vanish. The people who build empires, the ones who transform their lives from ashes to glory, are not the ones who waited. They are the ones who acted while they were afraid, while they were broke, while they were doubted. Massive action is not reckless. It is focused. It is deliberate. It is fueled by vision so clear that nothing can distract from it. You must see your future so vividly that it burns in your mind like fire. You must feel it in your bones before it ever arrives. This is the same truth Napoleon Hill declared nearly a century ago. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief without action is a fantasy. Belief without discipline is self-deception. So here is the law. Once you see it, you must act. Relentlessly, ferociously, daily. Action is a bridge between imagination and creation. Action is a great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you start, what you were given, or what obstacles you face. The one who acts will always surpass the one who only talks, the one who only plans, the one who only dreams. Do not wait for confidence. Action builds confidence. Do not wait for certainty. Action creates clarity. You don't need to know every step of the journey. You only need to take the next step with courage, and then the next, and then the next, until momentum itself carries you forward like a river that cannot be stopped. And yes, you will stumble. You will fall. But failure is not the end. It is the raw material of success. Every strike that misses sharpens your aim. Every door that slams teaches you to knock harder or to build your own door. Walt Disney was fired from his first job because he was told he lacked imagination. Imagine that. The man who would go on to build a kingdom of dreams was once dismissed as inadequate. But he did not stop. He took massive action, and the world still lives in the magic of his vision today. So ask yourself now, are you willing to burn the boats? Are you willing to leave behind the safety of hesitation and step into the fire of relentless pursuit? Because success doesn't come to those who want it. It comes to those who demand it. It comes to those who act again and again until the universe bends. This is the power of massive action. And until you embrace it, your potential will remain locked, your greatness dormant, your future unclaimed. But the moment you unleash it, everything changes. Perfect fire lets continue seamlessly. Same cinematic, Tony Robbins times Napoleon Hill style voiceover flow. This is Chunk 2, picking up right where we left off. The power of massive action begins inside your mind before the world ever sees it. The battlefield is not out there. It is in here, within your own thoughts. Your mind is either your greatest ally or your deadliest enemy. Most people lose before they even begin because they allow doubt to strangle their vision. They let fear write the script of their destiny. Understand this. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant will grow. Plant seeds of doubt, of hesitation, of excuses, and your life will harvest weeds of mediocrity. But plant seeds of faith, of courage, of determination, and your harvest will be greatness. Napoleon Hill taught us that thoughts are things, that every fortune, every empire, every triumph begins first as an idea held with faith and acted upon with persistence. The tragedy is not that people don't dream. The tragedy is that they don't protect their dreams long enough to see them come alive. Massive action requires massive clarity. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. The reason so many wander through life lost and unfulfilled is not because they are incapable. It is because they have no clear vision. If you don't decide what you want, the world will decide for you. And the world will always hand you limitations, not possibilities. Think of Andrew Carnegie, who came to America as a poor immigrant, working in a factory for pennies. He could have accepted that as his destiny. Instead, he chose a vision so bold it seemed impossible, to build an empire of steel, to create a fortune that would outlast him, to rise from nothing to one of the richest men in history. Did he wait for permission? Did he wait for someone to tell him it was possible? No. He created clarity in his own mind, and then he took relentless action until the world bowed to that clarity. Clarity is power. When you know what you want with such intensity that it consumes you, distractions fall away. Temptations lose their grip. The noise of the world fades, and all that remains is a vision of where you are going. That is the moment when action becomes inevitable. But clarity without discipline is a dream that evaporates with the sunrise. Discipline is a steel in your backbone when motivation fades. Motivation is fleeting. It is the spark that ignites the fire. But discipline is the wood that keeps the fire burning through the night. Anyone can act when they feel excited. The great ones act when they are tired, when they are discouraged, when no one is watching, when the applause is gone. That is what separates legend from the forgotten. Look at Abraham Lincoln. He lost election after election. He failed in business. He battled depression so dark it nearly consumed him. Yet he disciplined himself to keep going, to keep running, to keep believing in a vision of a united nation. And when history demanded a leader strong enough to hold America together, it was Lincoln who rose, forged by discipline and persistence. Massive action is not one big leap. It is thousands of small steps taken with discipline, stacked day after day until the impossible becomes inevitable. People look at success stories and call them overnight miracles, but what they don't see are the years of unrelenting effort, the nights spent working while others slept, the sacrifices that carve the foundation of greatness. And yes, there will be pain. Discipline demands sacrifice. You will sacrifice comfort. You will sacrifice leisure. You will sacrifice approval from those who do not understand your vision. But remember this, every sacrifice you make for your vision compounds into freedom later. Pay the price now, and you can live the rest of your life on your terms. Refuse to pay, and you will live forever enslaved to the terms of others. The power of massive action does not lie in a single day of effort. It lies in consistency. Drops of water, falling day after day, carve canyons through solid rock. So too will your daily disciplines carve destiny into your reality. Success is not an explosion. It is erosion, the slow wearing down of resistance by relentless action, until one day the dam breaks and the flood of results pours in. Ask yourself, what are you doing daily to move toward your vision? Not what you wish, not what you hope, but what you do. Because in the end, you will not be remembered for your intentions. You will be remembered for your actions. This is where most people fail. They confuse motion with progress. They confuse business with productivity. But massive action is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters, with intensity, with focus, with a refusal to stop. It is about cutting through the noise, stripping away the trivial, and giving your life to the few things that create the greatest impact. Massive action is ruthless in its priorities. It says, if this does not move me toward my vision, it does not deserve my energy. That level of focus is what turns ordinary men and women into giants. So the question becomes, will you choose discipline over distraction? Will you choose clarity over confusion? Will you choose the pain of growth over the comfort of decay? Because you cannot serve two masters. You cannot crave greatness while worshiping comfort. The path of massive action is narrow, but it is the only path that leads to freedom, to purpose, to a life that echoes through time. And the moment you commit to it, the moment you decide that nothing will stop you, the universe begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Excellent fire, let's keep the cinematic energy flowing. This is Chunk 3, carrying the same tone forward. No breaks, no recaps, just the next surge of the narration. Life will test you. The moment you commit to your vision, obstacles will rise like mountains. Doors will slam shut. Friends may doubt you. Enemies will mock you. The world will challenge every ounce of your resolve. And in that moment, you will face the question that separates the dreamers from the doers. Will you endure? Because the truth is this: greatness is never handed to anyone. It is forged in fire, hammered by failure, sculpted by setbacks. Every legend you admire has scars hidden beneath their victories. They did not succeed because they were lucky. They succeeded because they refused to be broken. Resilience is the muscle of giants. It is the ability to take a punch, to fall to your knees, to taste a date, and then rise again, stronger, hungrier, more determined. Most people quit when they face failure. But failure is not the enemy. Failure is the instructor. Failure is a refining fire that burns away weakness and reveals strength. Consider Edison once more. 10,000 failed experiments, each one a lesson. He did not say, "I have failed 10,000 times." He said, "I have found 10,000 ways that do not work." That is resilience. That is the reframe of a champion. Or take Walt Disney. Bankrupt, rejected hundreds of times by investors, laughed at for his vision of a theme park where adults could feel like children again. But he endured. He adapted. He pushed forward when logic said quit. And today, his name is carved into the imagination of the world. You see, resilience is not merely survival. Resilience is the art of turning obstacles into opportunities. It is the ability to bend without breaking, to pivot when the plan fails, to rise high because of the very weight that tried to crush you. The oak tree grows strong not in calm weather, but in the storm that force its roots to dig deeper. So too must your vision take root in adversity. Understand this: adversity is not punishment. Adversity is preparation. Life is not against you. Life is shaping you. The challenges you face today are the training ground for the victories you will claim tomorrow. The pressure you feel is sculpting your character, sharpening your mind, fortifying your spirit. Diamonds are nothing but carbon until they endure pressure. Steel is nothing but or until it endures fire. And you, too, must endure the refining process of struggle if you are to shine. But resilience alone is not enough. You must also be adaptable. The world is changing faster than ever before. What worked yesterday may not work today. What built empires a decade ago may destroy them now. Those who cling to old ways, who refuse to learn, who are too proud to change, they are swept aside by the tide of progress. Look at Henry Ford. He revolutionized the automobile industry, but later in his life, he resisted change, refused to adapt to new designs, clung stubbornly to his Model T when the world demanded evolution. And because of that, competitors like General Motors rose and overtook him. The lesson is clear: adapt or be left behind. Massive action is not blind repetition. It is intelligent persistence. It is the ability to learn, to adjust, to evolve without losing sight of the vision. Think of a river carving its path through stone. It does not stop when it meets a rock. It bends, it shifts, it flows around, but it never ceases moving toward the ocean. That is a model of your life, flexible in method, unshakable in purpose. The world will not give you what you want simply because you desire it. The world will test your hunger. It will demand proof of your commitment. And that proof is shown in your resilience, in your adaptability, in your refusal to quit when others would. Remember this: every setback is temporary, but surrender is permanent. You cannot control every storm, but you can control your response. You cannot prevent every fall, but you can decide whether you rise. The power of massive action is not about never failing. It is about never staying down. And when you develop that kind of resilience, you become unstoppable. Because the world cannot defeat a person who refuses to quit. It cannot destroy someone who adapts, who learns, who grows stronger with every blow. The enemy of progress is not failure, it is resignation. So the next time you face a setback, a rejection, a failure, a loss, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask instead, "What is this teaching me? How is this shaping me? How can I rise high because of this?" That is the mindset of champions. That is the language of resilience. And when you combine resilience with action, clarity with adaptability, you become a force of nature. You are no longer tossed around by the winds of circumstance. You are the storm. You are the fire. You are the relentless force that bends reality to your will. Wealth is not an accident. Success is not a coincidence. Prosperity does not fall from the sky into the hands of the lucky. It is built, step by step, by those who understand the unshakable law of cause and effect. For every seed planted, there is a harvest. For every action taken, there is a reaction. Life does not reward wishes. It rewards work, vision, discipline, and belief. Yet most people drift through life as if they were victims of chance. They wait for opportunity, hoping that someday, somehow, success will appear like a miracle at their doorstep. But fortune does not favor the passive. Fortune favors the bold. It favors the man or woman who dares to act, who dares to move, who dares to demand more from life than mediocrity. Think of Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate. He began in poverty, working 12-hour days in a textile mill for pennies. But he understood a principle most people ignore. If you exchange more value than you are paid for, eventually you will be paid for more than you give. He poured himself into every task, every opportunity, and in doing so, he attracted greater and greater responsibility until he commanded empires. His fortune was not an accident. It was a result of understanding that wealth begins not with money, but with value creation. The world is a mirror. It reflects what you put into it. Put in apathy, and it will return scarcity. Put in laziness, and it will return struggle. But pour in focus, effort, resilience, discipline, and creativity, and the world has no choice but to respond in kind. This is not magic. This is not superstition. This is law. But here's a secret. Wealth does not start in your hands. It starts in your mind. The poor think money is about luck, about inheritance, about external circumstances. The wealthy know money is about mindset, about belief, about the willingness to see abundance where others see lack. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right." Wealth is no different. If you think abundance is impossible for you, if you believe wealth belongs only to others, then your actions will reflect that belief. You will sabotage yourself. You will make excuses. You will see only obstacles. But if you believe with unshakable conviction that you can and will create wealth, not by chance but by design, then your mind begins to search for opportunities, your heart begins to burn with hunger, and your hands begin to work with precision. This is the psychology of wealth. Belief plus action equals destiny. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose. Every fortune, every empire, every success story begins with a single, focused intention. Without purpose, energy is scattered. With purpose, energy is concentrated. And concentrated energy, directed with persistence, bends reality itself. Look at the lives of those who shaped history. Edison, with his tireless experiments. Lincoln, with his refusal to quit despite countless defeats. Oprah Winfrey, who rose from poverty and abuse to build a global media empire by sheer vision and persistence. They were not lucky. They were purposeful. They chose to believe in possibility when the world screamed impossibility. And they backed that belief with relentless, massive action. But understand this. Wealth is not only about money. True wealth is freedom. It is the ability to wake up each day with purpose, to pursue what sets your soul on fire, to give abundantly, to live without chains. Money is only a tool, a magnifier of who you already are. If you are fearful, money will magnify your fear. If you are generous, money will magnify your generosity. If you are disciplined, money will magnify your discipline. And if you are careless, money will magnify your downfall. This is why personal growth must precede financial growth. The inner must lead the outer. The man who wins a lottery without building character soon loses it all. But the man who builds discipline, vision, and resilience will create wealth again and again, because his fortune is not in his bank account. It is in his mindset. So do not ask, how can I make money fast? Ask instead, how can I create massive value? How can I discipline my mind and body? How can I become the kind of person who naturally attracts wealth, opportunity, and freedom? Because wealth is not pursued. It is attracted, and it is attracted through who you become. The world is filled with people chasing shortcuts, gambling with their future, hoping for quick wins. They waste years looking for secrets when the truth has been the same for centuries. Clear vision, burning belief, disciplined action, relentless persistence, adaptability, gratitude, and service to others. These are the foundations of abundance. They work for Carnegie, for Ford, for Rockefeller, for Disney, and they will work for you. But only if you stop waiting. Only if you stop doubting. Only if you stop playing small. The moment you decide, truly decide, that wealth, success, and freedom are not just possibilities but inevitabilities, that is a moment the tide of life begins to turn in your favor. And once you taste that shift, once you feel the power of belief aligning with massive action, you will never go back, because you will know, deep in your bones, that you were not created for mediocrity. You were created for greatness. You were created to expand, to build, to inspire, to leave a mark so deep that generations remember your name. Discipline is a bridge between dreams and reality. Without it, vision collapses into wishful thinking. With it, even the impossible bends to your will. Every empire that has ever risen, every fortune that has ever been built, every legend that has ever been made, they were all carried on the shoulders of discipline. Most people think success is about one giant leap, one moment of glory, one big break. But the truth is different. Success is the accumulation of small, consistent, disciplined actions that compound over time. It is a decision to wake up when you feel like sleeping, to work when you feel like quitting, to push when your body and mind scream for comfort. This is the iron law of life. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Those who bow to comfort remain small. Those who sacrifice comfort build destinies. Look at the life of Thomas Edison. He failed over 10,000 times before producing the light bulb. 10,000 failures would have broken the average man, but Edison was not average. He understood that each failure was not an ending but a step, a refinement, a necessary sacrifice on the path to illumination. And because he chose discipline over comfort, the world was changed forever. Your habits define your future. Not your intentions, not your dreams, not your hopes, your habits. The rituals you perform when no one is watching are the blueprints of your destiny. If your days are scattered, your results will be scattered. If your days are focused, your results will be extraordinary. Look at the wealthy. Look at the powerful. Look at the influential. They are not lucky. They are not gifted beyond comprehension. They are disciplined. They guard their mornings as sacred. They do not allow the world to dictate their time. They dictate their own. They rise before the sun. They feed their minds with wisdom. They strengthen their bodies with energy. They program their state before the world has a chance to steal it. Win the morning, win the day. This is not just a phrase. It is a principle carved into the foundation of success. How you begin your morning determines how you live your day. And how you live your day determines how you shape your life. Imagine a man who wakes up with no purpose, no routine, no direction. He scrolls his phone, drowns in distractions, reacts to the world instead of creating it. His mind is filled with noise, his body sluggish, his spirit drained. By nightfall, he wonders why nothing changes, why he feels stuck. But he is blind to the truth. He is stuck because he has chosen to drift. Now imagine another man. He wakes before the sun, breathes deeply, sharpens his mind with gratitude and vision, fuels his body with strength, focuses his thoughts on creation, not consumption. He does not wait for opportunity. He generates it. He does not wait for clarity. He builds it. He does not wait for energy. He creates it. Day after day, year after year, this discipline compounds. And when others marvel at his success, calling him lucky, he knows it was never luck. It was design. This is the power of rituals. They are not small things. They are everything. The tiny daily disciplines, invisible to the world, are what separate the average from the extraordinary. A single day of discipline may not change your life, but years of it will transform you beyond recognition. And discipline does more than build wealth. It builds character. It forges a mind that cannot be shaken, a spirit that cannot be broken, a body that cannot be enslaved by laziness. It is the ultimate freedom, because when you are disciplined, you are no longer a slave to mood, to circumstance, to environment. You act not because you feel like it, but because it must be done. That is power. Abraham Lincoln once said, "I will study and prepare myself, and someday my chance will come." Preparation is discipline. Lincoln understood that opportunity does not announce itself in advance. It comes suddenly, like a storm. And only those who are disciplined, only those who are prepared in silence, can seize it when it appears. So ask yourself, what are your rituals? What are the disciplines you practice daily that align you with your vision? Do you rise early? Do you sharpen your mind? Do you guard your time? Do you demand more of yourself than anyone else could ever demand of you? Because if you do not control your days will control you. If you do not shape your habits will shape you. If you do not master your time will master you. Time is the great equalizer. The wealthy and the poor, the successful and the defeated, the disciplined and the lazy, all are given the same 24 hours. The difference is not in the clock. The difference is in how they choose to use it. Most people waste time as if it were infinite. They scroll, they gossip, they drift, they delay. But the disciplined understand that every second wasted is a second stolen from their destiny. They treat time as a most precious currency because it is the only currency you can never earn back. If you want a fortune, protect your time. If you want freedom, protect your time. If you want greatness, protect your time. Every distraction is a thief. Every wasted hour is a debt you will never repay. Guard your focus like a treasure chest, because it is. When you master your discipline, when you command your rituals, when you own your time, you become unstoppable. Not because the world changes, but because you have changed. Not because circumstances are perfect, but because your mind is unshakable. Not because luck finds you, but because your preparation was so relentless that opportunity could not ignore you.